everything going. I'm doing the session from home tonight, so I thought, so if this is a little bit different, you kind of know why. So just there we go. It's here. Here we go. And just checking we're all live on LinkedIn too. Make sure that's all working. So bear with me. Let's make sure that that goes through okay. And then we'll start. Then we'll start talking about how do you create content that your audience will love. How do you create content that your audience will love? So there we go. LinkedIn's up and running. So if you're joining us on LinkedIn, welcome. If you're joining us on Facebook, if you're joining me from YouTube, where else are we? We're Twitter. Yeah, we're everywhere. So if you're joining, I can see the chat here. So please do let me know where you're joining from. That would be awesome. So I can see a few people are watching on LinkedIn, so it'll kick in a few minutes. So I'm going to start in about 5 minutes. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you some fresh ideas that you can implement on content that will interest your audience. If you've had this scenario that basically people are bored by your content, you're not getting the engagement that you think you should. Oh, Alessandra. We're going to go through that. Hi, Richard from Norfolk, Virginia. So we're going to kind of go through that. We're going to kind of break it down. This is a bit more low key for me because I'm getting all packed and sorted out to go on holiday, and we've had a UK heat wave. So if you're joining from around the world, we've had a UK heat wave, and the studio is still like an oven. So I thought I'd come do this at home. It's a bit cooler in the house at home. So hi, Charlene from Devon. I'm in Cornwall right now. I'm in Cornwall right now, Charlene. So our office is in Plymouth, but the studio is like a furnace. So really, really hot. So I thought I'd do this from home and to do it a little more low key. It's summer. We're, you know, but there's a couple of things I really want to kind of talk to you tonight about that will help you. So obviously, we want to create content, we want to speak to our audience, but we can get obsessed about design and creating stuff. So I want to kind of help you with something there that could make it a hell of a lot easier. That's the first thing. I'm going to talk about how you structure your content. So hi, Paige from Portland. Hi, Rory. Hi, Zane. So I'm going to talk about some things that you can do to make the structure of your content easier. And I'm going to talk about how do you establish authority with your content. So that's what we're really going to be focused on. So it's how to do it without a design team and make it really simple and quick. The most effective structure, and then how do you build that kind of expertise and authority around your profile, but more importantly, let your content build that profile. And then towards the end of the session, I'm going to let you know about a summer thing we're running, a summer program we're running called 100 Leads in 6 weeks. It's actually an implementation program. So if you hang around to the end, I'll tell you about that because we actually help you build some things that will get you leads every single week from your LinkedIn content. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. So I can see Laurie's here from Rochester, New York, and Ben from Charleston, South Carolina, Zane from Chelmsford, Mohammed from Karachi. So it's nice to have so many here. I'm sure I'll get some comments from YouTube as well. So yeah, I can see some people joining on YouTube as well. So just as an aside, please do feel free to chip up questions as we go, because what I want to do is show you this in real time. I don't really want to kind of like just give you theory. I want you to be able to go away and do something in practice in real time. So I'm going to do it as demos. So it's going to be practical demos that I'm going to do on my own LinkedIn account, and I'm going to build some posts and I'm going to show you why I've done them the way I did. So Andrew Barnes there from YouTube. Hello, Ration Book Recipes, and Kevin from Devon. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm in Cornwall tonight, so I'm doing this from my house. It's too hot in the office, too hot in the studio still. So first thing I want to talk about is, and this actually leads to the structure. And you're going to need notepads here because I'm doing this as a demo. So you're going to need a notepad. If you want to get leads and you want to get authority and influence from your content, you don't need a big following. The following comes from the good content. That will sort itself out. Don't stress about that. You have to a regime. You have to commit to say, if I want my content to bring me business, I have to commit to content. Now, I know I might sound like I'm patronizing you, but it's surprising how many people say, and I hear lots of, I really want my content to do all the work for me. But then when I look at what they've been doing, they're inconsistent. They're making bluntly excuses for not having the time. You have to make the time. It's a bit like me saying, would you rather make cold calls or get leads from content? Cold calls or lead from content? Everybody would say leads from content because it is a tough old gig. But if you don't allocate the time, you'll always be cold calling. So I'm not dissing cold calling. I'm just saying that if you don't crack the nut with content, you'll always have to do something else. And that's my experience. I have a face for radio, so content is my thing. I don't like doing videos because they can take a long time. So I shoot it from the hip and it's up. Every piece of content that goes out on my LinkedIn, I've created. Every little post I've written. Every little PDF that I put up, I've made. Why I can do it? You can do it. And I've learned this. So I'm not telling you theory here. This is stuff that I use every single day. Everybody's still with me. Hi, Sabina from Germany. Hi, Lisa from Bay Area, San Francisco. Right. So what I want to talk to you about, and I'll just flick here because I want to show you something. So the first thing about getting content to work for you is you've got to get people to stop scrolling. Everybody knows this. You've got to get people to stop scrolling. And so as you look through the feed, there are things that get you to stop scrolling. David's a client of mine. Luke's a member of our team. Things are there to stop you scrolling. So this is an event I did yesterday in Bristol. So in the feed, people are wandering through, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever channel it is, they're scrolling through. And so the first thing you've got to do is literally get them to stop scrolling. Now, here's some things, and this kind of flies in the face of brand marketing. If you create every post and it looks the same or similar, people think, okay, that is perfect personal branding, it's perfect corporate branding. But it also might look like ads. And we're trained to spot ads these days. We're trained to see them. So anything that looks like an ad, smells like an ad, we have learned to ignore. So if we want to get attention, we have to do something that gets attention. And beautiful stock imagery from a free website is not going to cut it. So what we've got to do, and this is where I start with, how do I create design without a design team? I'm going to show you a real simple way. The purpose of an image on your post. So when I write a post here on LinkedIn and I put an image up, the purpose of that image is to grab people's attention. It's to get people interested. That's what it's there to do. It's to, now, if you've got the most amazing photographs on earth, awesome. If you've got the most amazing video content on earth, awesome. But if you haven't got that, I'm going to show you a real simple way to get attention in the feed. Then I'm going to show you a simple way to structure your posts, and how you build your authority on a platform. Now, and then I'll show you the 100 how to get consistent leads every week from your LinkedIn, which is something I teach and help people implement. So if we're looking at our post and we're going, okay, I've got to get attention. The big thing that you want to do to get attention is, one, catch the eye. That's the first thing, catch the eye. The second thing is make people curious. Human beings are incredibly nosy. Yeah, we are incredibly nosy. We want to know what's going on. So personal imagery works really well. Personal imagery. Or another thing that works really well is what I call the Ron seal. Do what it says on the tin. So I'm going to show you two different versions of how to do this. You don't need a graphic designer. And I'm going to do this in real time. I'm just going to, and this is dead simple. So this is a real simple trick. And I'm going to show you how to create a LinkedIn graphic from Twitter. So on Twitter, and this is a really simple thing, I'm going to post, people overcomplicate making social media images. The main job is to get people to stop scrolling. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm writing this on Twitter. People overcomplicate making social media images. The main job of your image is to get people to stop scrolling. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tweet that. Ready? So now what I'm going to do, and you can do this on any mobile phone, right? And I'm going to show you how to write a post around this in a second. So I'm going to do this on my mobile phone, and I'm going to go to my Twitter profile, and I'm going to find that tweet I just did and screenshot it. So I've just screenshotted it. Don't worry, you'll see this in a moment. I've just screenshotted the tweet, right? This is so simple, right? And some people ask me, Dean, why does this work? And I'll honestly answer you, I don't know why this works, but it does. So what I've done is I've screenshotted the tweet I've just made. I've just gone onto Twitter, screenshotted it on my phone. So we all know how to screenshot, right? And then on your phone, you've got some kind of photo app. On my phone, I have a free app called InShot. And what I'm going to do now is I'm literally going to take a picture of myself. And you're watching me do this, right? So this isn't even a great picture of me, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Let me just straighten my t-shirt. It's too hot for this really, but fully pictures. So I've just taken a picture of myself, and then literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a picture. Oh God, this is a rough picture, but I did say I'd do it in real time. So I'm doing it in real time. In real time. Ooh. Scary picture, Dean. Scary picture. Put maybe a little filter on it because it looks a little rough. Some of you, I'm hoping some of you put in the comments saying, Dean, you don't look rough. That would be really nice, but rebuild my self-esteem. That would be fantastic. But you're not doing that, so thanks so much for that, guys. Right, so I've made an image. I'm going to post it on LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you. So, excuse me. If you go to my LinkedIn, right, you're going to see I'm going to put this post up. And I'm going to do one of the most simplest posts you can ever do. Now, you don't have to do an image every day, but I'm just going to show you how you can get attention in the feed by doing something really simple. Hopefully. Thank you, Andrew. Kelly, there's a fantastic app that makes you look amazing. I kind of use it every now and then just to give my self-esteem a boost. And this took, I'll say 2 minutes, and I made this live. Human imagery always works. Stop using corporate stuff that looks like ads. Keep it simple. So I've just posted this really quickly. I'll go to my profile so you can see it. If you all come along, look at the post, and I'm going to walk you through the post itself because it's going to help you. Oh, why is LinkedIn doing this today? I'm going to walk you through the post itself because it will be helpful for you to be able to see how and why a post works and the way it works. And I'm going to talk you through that, because if you understand that you're trying to convince a human and get a human being's attention, it becomes much easier. So there's my post. People overcomplicate imagery. This took 2 minutes and I made this live. Always works. Stop using corporate stuff that looks like ads. Keep it simple. And there's me. So it's very low key. I made this in 5 minutes and I don't have to. Thank you, Rory. I'll pay you later. You don't have to make every post your best work. One of the key things about posting on social media is that people get you. And so the first thing I'm doing with imagery is I'm using pictures of me. I put a tweet or a screenshot of a tweet over the top. So simple to do. And I had one single thing that I wanted to land with this post. Sometimes people get so lost in what they're writing, they give up. I've met people who go, I've got this really good post, and they start writing it and then they go, how do I condense it down? You just got to land a point simply, as simple as possible. And the image is primarily to get you attention. It's to take up space in the feed. So if you look here, it takes up space because it's a big imagery, and I'm landing one point, one single simple point with is don't overcomplicate imagery. And that's all the point I need to make. So I'll come to in a second why I chose to do the post in the way I did. But what or how we elevate our authority. And that's going to surprise you how you elevate your authority on social media, because a lot of people think it's about showing people how clever you are. It really isn't. It isn't about showing people how smart you are in that way. So one of the simple things next, so the hardest bit is the image. So the image can be as simple. What do you use to screenshot on mobile? Well, I'm on Android, so I can just press, I think it's the volume down and the power button, and it just takes it. So it's really simple to just do that. And oddly enough, I've posted it a few times today, so I don't know how well this one will do. But oddly enough, things like this work really well because it looks a bit random. And if you think about it, we're all busy and and there's loads of stuff going on. This one's quite good because it's bright yellow. It gets you in the eyes. Yeah. Oh, time to act now. What's this? You can tell the ones that are ads, and you can tell the ones that are more human. So it makes sense to try and get people's attention by being different. So if I can just flick to a member of our Teams account that I'm logged in on, hopefully I'll pop up somewhere. So you'll see what I mean. I'm hoping I'll pop up so you'll see it. There you go. Look at that. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So you see, it goes, what's this? Oh, people overcomplicate. So there's a couple of things about structure that become important. You see, people overcomplicate imagery. This took 2 minutes and I made this live. See more. What's this all about? What's this all about? See more. Human imagery always works. Stop using corporate stuff that looks like ads. Keep it simple. So I've done something straightforward here, is I've landed a message as simply as I can. Remember, on social media, lots of people say, and you know, some people say social media is rotting our brains. I'm really rotting our brains, but what we are in a different state of mind on social media. We're not reading a medical journal or an important white paper or legal documents. We're not studying everything that we see. And so our attention spans are really short. And so whilst I don't want to just put something out there really low key, I am putting something out. Richard, yes, I can show you some examples if you don't use Twitter in a second. So I'm just putting something out that lands the blow really fast. Yeah. But it lands the blow in as simple and easy to understand language as you can possibly imagine. So really, really simple. Z, if you're just joining, at the beginning, I showed you how to make this, but I'll show you how to make this again. So in a different way, because some people don't use Twitter. So I've done it in this way here. Oh, some of you have already liked it, which is good. Pants. So stuff that looks human always does well. And this is just a simple way to do it. Now I'm just going to show you another way now to do the same thing. Right, I'm in Microsoft PowerPoint. You ready? So I go to design, change the slide size to custom size, and I'm going to change it to 25 by 25. You don't need design software, but I'm just going to show you something simple that anybody can do. So I've now got my square box. Right, I do square because it takes up a lot of space. Stop making your social media complicated. Simple things work the best. So I'm just going to do this one. Really low key. And I'm going to hopefully show you this. One of the things that's brilliant about PowerPoint is you can grab imagery from LinkedIn. I have to kind of tile this up a little bit because I'm using my second screen for you guys to see the chat. Is I can go like that. It's a bit pixelated, but it's all right because it's only going to be small. There, I've made the same thing. Yeah, I don't even have to put a picture on it. I could do it like that, or I could take another picture. So I could take a picture from PowerPoint, the picture I put up earlier, drag that into PowerPoint, and do the same. Everybody knows how you can get your picture into PowerPoint. That's not like a tricky thing. Do it like that, and then put the white box over the top. Obviously, I've already got one on it. Exactly like that. I don't want to take up too much time because this isn't like a graphic design. Send to back, send backward, send to back. There we go. I've done the same thing in PowerPoint. File, save as, desktop. I want it as a I could put it on a PDF or save it as a PNG. Dean test webinar. Just this slide. And I'll just find it wherever it is. I'll show you what it looks like. Done. Yeah, so the simpler you make it, the easier it is. And that applies for the text in the post too. So if you look at this post here, I've made the sentences really short, really easy to read, and really like a relaxed read. The quicker if you can land one powerful point concisely, you will have a lot of interest from people. You will make a big impact. Dead simple, right? The reason why you're finding the content complicated is because you're making it complicated. It's better to go, I'm going to put out consistently something that gives people one key thought. Make it accessible, make it easy for people. Don't overcomplicate it. Look how I've wrote this post. I've made it so easy on the eye to read, so easy on the eye that people will spend time on it and go, yeah, this is interesting. And he makes a good point. You can do it really fast. I don't need to give people on every post a step-by-step tutorial. And I don't need to prove myself. And this is a really important point. Some of you, and I'm not saying everybody here, but some of you feel like you have to prove yourself with your content. You don't. You can give people you don't have to prove yourself to people. What happens when you try and prove it is you end up with this big, huge, long post, and it's mammoth. And then you go, oh, it's a bit of a mistake here and this, and I've won this post here. You probably wrote 10 posts in one big post. So you can put these out. Of course, sometimes you'll have some things that you really want to get out. Fine, do it. But actually, most of your posts should be what I call taste. They're tasters of your real value. Tasters of your real value. Because what you want to do with your content is go, that was really good. That was helpful. I'll stick around. One of the reasons I do loads of posts, but I also do webinars like this is because I want people to have different levels of tasting my value. So when I do a post like this, I give them a really light bite. And when I do a video for say a minute or 2 minutes, I'm giving them a little snack maybe. And this is like a main course, or it's a starter, an appetizer for the full-blown working with me to get leads through your content kind of thing. So this is something you've got to get. If you do full-blown meals all the time, people are not ready to digest meals all the time. So light bites get you some attention, get you some traction, get you some interest, and people will go, he's got a good point. Keep it simple, don't overthink. Now here's the bit. Can you do this from anywhere other than Twitter? Yeah, I just did it on PowerPoint. If you want to go a step further, there's an app called Canva. and there's a free subscription to Canva. But to be honest with you, you could, Canva's like all singing, all dancing. I make a lot of things in Canva now, but I can do the same thing in Canva. So I can drag the image. I have to get it in. I can drag the image, drop it in, and I can put boxes over the top, because obviously you wouldn't have the tweet there. And I can do exactly the same thing. Just take a picture, drop it into Canva. Canva's free, by the way. There is a premium service for it, but there is a free account. I pay for mine because it's got all these little funky logos and stuff in that can be useful. So I can do like this and then go, oh, download that as a GIF, and I can put that on. That's a bit strange. So I may use that. That could be weird on LinkedIn, but it doesn't really appeal to the right person. And this leads me, your image on your post should get the attention, stop people from scrolling, but it should also help people decide whether the post is relevant for them. So you'll see on some of my posts, I actually put text on the image, and I say, or 5 reasons why, or how to. And I do that because people scroll and go, that's. You see, we think beautiful imagery is the answer, but the reality is for most of us, we can't sustain that. We can't find amazing imagery every day. So the idea is the image is just to distract, get attention, draw them in. So it's either text that tells people what it is, or it's an image that goes, oh, this is different. That's all you need to do. And your text structure is ever so simple. So things like lists, 4 things you should consider. And the key thing is, I don't have time to go into it in detail, and I'd get in trouble because we'd be giving our paid stuff away. But the first 2 lines and this image are absolutely critical to getting people to stop scrolling. If you get people stopping scrolling, if they stop scrolling, that's like 90% of the battle with the post done to get the traction and the visibility and the reach. So imagery, we can do it by screenshotting on our phone and a little photo editing thing on our phone, dead simple. We can use PowerPoint to do it, or we could use Canva. Structure, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, short sentences. Write your posts like you're having a conversation with somebody. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and they wrote a post, and I said, now speak that post out and imagine you're talking to a friend of yours. And when they said, no, I would never say it like that. If you would never say it to somebody like that in person, don't write it. So the reason why is social media is social. So it should read like a conversation. It could read like you talking to people you kind of know. Andrew Barnes, you can, Angelo, I'll come to the hashtags in a minute. So Andrew Barnes, use different fonts in a post. You can do, but more and more people are seeing that that's people trying to get attention. Yeah, it's a hack that people are using to try and get attention. It does work, but actually the imagery will do it for you. Yes, imagery, vibrant images, darker colors don't seem to do so well on LinkedIn in terms of post feed. Angelo has asked about hashtags. 3 hashtags is all you need. And I'm going to give you a mind-blowing moment about hashtags. Make sure you pick hashtags that your target audience are following, not hashtags that are relate to the post. So I would not put on this post about social media or images. I might put hashtag technology, right? Why am I putting hashtag technology? Because a lot of my customers are following hashtag technology. You'll never hear me or see me use the hashtag LinkedIn training. Why? Because the majority of people who follow hashtag LinkedIn training are LinkedIn trainers. Why would I want to put my content in front of my competition? Doesn't make sense. So I'll use hashtag coaching to reach coaches. I'll use hashtag marketing to reach marketers. I'll use hashtag business. I'll use hashtag technology. I'll use hashtag leadership. Anything to get my content in front of my target audience. Why 3? Because LinkedIn only indexes the first 3 anyway. So if you put more than 3 on it, it won't harm it. Could look a little desperate though. So just put 3, low key. And it doesn't matter whether they're in the comments or they're in the post. Just put them in. Just put them in. 3. Yes, the answer is the distraction and using the image to get attention in this way does work. It will increase your views because what you're doing is you're appealing to human nature. Human beings are incredibly curious. They are very, very curious people. And so what will happen is people will basically pay attention just because they want to know what it is, why it is. So it's very, very important that you think about this. If your content is about getting attention, your imagery is about getting attention. So a couple of quick tips. Remember, if you're writing a post, speak it out. Speak it out. And if you would never say it to a person in conversation, don't write it. Because if you want to come across as natural and engaging, and notice how I talk. I don't say, welcome to the webinar. How are you today? My name is Dean Seddon. I am the CEO and founder of Maverick. Maverick was founded. I don't speak like I write. And so social media, what we're trying to do is have a conversation. We're trying to warm people to us. And so how we talk, how we type on social media should feel like a conversation. One way to notice this is when you talk to a human being, your sentences, but when you're writing an email or when you're writing a blog, your sentences are longer. Now on social media, we're not functioning as human beings, we're browsing, we're using it as a distraction from other things. That's how we do it. We're looking to see what's going on. So you want it to be easy for people to read when they're in that zoned out mode, when they're in that space where they're taking a break from work, or they're looking on their phones in the evening when something's, they're having a bit of downtime. You just want to keep it casual and keep it, I call it informal, but never familiar. So it's a relaxed tone. It's talking to a single person. So I'm not talking to thousands of people, and I'm talking from myself. I feel about this topic myself. So real simple how I've done that there. And every sentence is short, simple, and it's how I would speak. So if basically, if you met me, I'd say people overcomplicate imagery. This took 2 minutes and I made it live. Human imagery always works. Stop using corporate stuff because it looks like ads. Just keep it simple. That's what I did. But sometimes when we try and write things, we just overcomplicate ourselves, tie ourselves in knots, and then go, I'll have to try again and post another day. Another day is another day. One post up is better than no post up. And people disagree with me about that. But let me tell you, one post up is better than no post up. For you to get really, really good at getting leads from content, for you to really engage your audience, you will have to practice. You can either practice in secret, but then to yourself, write stuff and hope it works, but never post it because you're unsure, or you put it out there and build an audience who likes you, build an audience who resonates with you, build an audience who go, I like the way Andrew writes his content. I like the way does his content. That's the key thing here. Kevin said, what about, is there anything to suggest to use it or avoid it? I think it depends on what industries you're in. But that's where I say informal but never familiar. So familiar might be, if we think about it in this context, I'm sat down having a conversation with somebody at a conference that I've met. I wouldn't be all stiff. I'd be quite relaxed and casual. I'd still be one eye on, I need to come across professional, but I'd be casual and have a good conversation versus down the pub with my best friends, or, you know, slightly different tonality, and you'd have more banter. Depends on your industry and who your target market is, but the safe bet is informal. You've met somebody at a conference and you're having a sandwich and having a conversation in the break of the conference. It's informal, it's relaxed, but you don't know each other really, really well. Versus I'm with my best friend, we've known each other for 15 years and we're sat having a beer together. That's a whole different conversation. And I would say you want to be more like the conference than you want to be like the beer. But you don't want to be the professor at the lectern giving the lectern either and putting people to sleep. So when we come to, okay, how do we show our expertise on social media? How do we elevate our authority so people see us as the people who can absolutely help? And this may confuse you at first, but it will blow your mind. So people attach themselves to people who help them understand their problem better. People attach themselves to people who help them understand their problem better. It's a bit of a mouthful, that, but here's what it means. There's a great engineer from General Motors, Charles Kettering. And many years ago, he's an engineer in the early, and so very, very early days in vehicle manufacturing. And he made one of the most profound statements that you can ever hear in your life, because when you listen to this and when you accept this statement, it suddenly changes the way you think. If you understand the problem well enough, you have half the solution. Now you're going, Dean, what are you talking about here? You're kind of talking in riddles. I'm not. Most people think expertise is about giving people more knowledge, more information, more in-depth information. It isn't. Expertise, or being recognized as a go-to expert, is to understand where they are right now and giving them the most simple solutions that they can trust. So if you look on LinkedIn, there's lots of people giving you big articles about the future of this and the future of that and where this is going and where the other's going. But the person who gets the credit for being the expert is helping people what to think about those things now and think about it in the most simplistic of ways. An expert's job is to make something complicated accessible and achievable for a non-expert. So if you want to position yourself as the authority, you want people to hang on you for the answer. And so your job is not to overload them with more and more information. It's just to make what they've already struggling with easier. So that's why you can be not the foremost expert, the foremost thinker in your field, but you can be a very influential expert with your target audience because you just make their life easier. That's why we buy things. We buy things because it's going to help us make our lives easier. It's going to take pain away, struggle away, difficulty away, challenges away. So most of your content just has one simple job: to get your expertise across, is make it useful, not insightful, make it useful for the people who you want to sell your products and services to. So if you're a coach, right, and you want to help people with a mindset problem, well, if you're trying to help people with a mindset problem, hear me out. The first thing is they might not realize they have a mindset problem because they have a mindset problem. Think about that. If somebody has a mindset problem, they might not realize they have a mindset problem. What they may see is that the life's unfair for them in a particular area. And your job is to help them see how if they make little changes, simple little changes, it makes a little difference. One little step can make a difference. And then another little step can make a difference. And then they come to you because that last step you helped them make, that simple step, made their life a little bit easier. And so they come back to you because you helped them make their life a little bit easier. So think about it like that. Your content, if you want to elevate your authority, is actually to help somebody by providing a useful piece of content that allows them to take one little baby step, that makes them think and go, oh yeah. And that quote from Charles Kettering that I shared earlier, that quote basically is him saying, when you understand your situation, when you realize, you take a look round at where you are and what you're doing, once you appreciate where you are, experts help people understand where they are better. Suddenly, the creativity, the ingenuity of human beings suddenly sees options. The reason why some people end up in very difficult situations in business is not because they're stupid. It's because they don't see the problem clearly enough. And so therefore they can't devise a solution. They're not looking around and stepping back and analyzing it. And some people can't. They're so in the middle of something that they can't see it. They're blinkered to it. And so the expert's job is to help them take off the blinkers and go, oh, wow. And as soon as they see their real situation, they go, I could do this and I could do this. And you get the credit, but you never get the full answer. You just get part of it. You see some ideas. And that's what expertise is, helping somebody who's a non-expert find a solution. And your content, if you do it right, if you don't go too in, can just help people see a little bit more, just see that a bit wider field of view. And when they see that wider field of view, you get the credit for helping them see the wider field of view. The danger, in fact, for you is that you go, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the content. I'm going to rip those blinkers off. And when you rip those blinkers off for people, guess they don't need you at all, because they love what you've done for them. You've changed their world, but they don't need you because you didn't give them the baby step. You just gave them this full-blown solution. So look, hopefully I've made this as simple as possible. Imagery can be done dead easily. Talk how you would talk to an acquaintance or somebody meet at a conference, but then think about it. How do I make my content useful for the people who are having challenges that I know my services can fix? So how do I show my value so that they go, that person really helped me. They obviously know what they're talking about. You have to give them a little bite-sized chunk of usefulness, something that helps them see it better, something that helps them realize, I don't have to do that. Why was I thinking I had to do that? Why did this have to, why have I been doing it that way? I don't have to do it that way. Now you might have a different way, but you can help them see that they don't have to do it that way. Does that make sense? You're still with me here? Yeah. So to be an expert is not about sharing the biggest future in the world and you can see how this can happen and that can happen and the other can happen. It's landing very simple, useful information that helps your prospects open their eyes a little bit more. Andrew's got a random question. That's all cool. You mentioned about using 3 hashtags earlier. As the latter additions don't really add as much, is the same true for ats? Or can you give as many of those as you'd like? You can tag as many people in a post as you'd like, but bear in mind, if you're trying to position yourself as the expert, the go-to person, and you over tag, people know why people do that, right? They over tag, they tag lots of people because it draws their attention. It's trying to, get more eyeballs. I personally wouldn't do it, and I've never done it. If there's something meaningful, I'll tag some people in, but generally I wouldn't do it, because to the outside world, they go, why is that person tagging all those people in it? And it leaves them with a question. I see people do it, but I personally wouldn't do it. Any other questions? Because I want to show you something. If you've got some time, I want to show you something that I'm doing next month. I'll stay on for more questions. So if there are more questions, absolutely, Richard's raised a good point. Should you mix it up? Absolutely. If you're going to promote something, make sure you mix it up and do something else the next day, something a bit more low key. Don't become a one-trick pony, promote. Mix it up, add some value, share some personal things, share some promotional things, curate some articles and news that you found online. Give people a variety. Videos are difficult. I struggle making videos, but I do them because it gives people a personal encounter with me. It's one thing for people to read my words, but it's another thing to see the words come out of my mouth. It's high trust when people hear and see you delivering the value. That's why I do these so often, because people go away, and I've had so many people, because I just give away stuff and help people as much as I can, recommend me and bring me into their companies and help transform the way they're generating business from social media, simply because I came to one of your webinars and it changed the way I thought, and I think you could add something to us. So I would mix it up. Yes, Kelly, the sandwich strategy, very important. The sandwich strategy is very important. So look, I want to share with you just this thing, and don't switch off for a minute. This is something I'm running in the next couple of weeks. So I start in August. Is if you're interested, I'm not going to kind of I just want to tell you about it. And there's a little video on here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put the link in the chat on LinkedIn, and then you can see it. Basically what I do is I take a group of people for about 6-7 weeks, and I effectively help them build a very simple, because I like simple, a very simple way to generate leads from content every single week. And it's not a course, we actually do it together. So each week I come and say, great guys, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how I do it. You can ask questions, you go do it, build it, and then next week we build the next bit. You know, like you used to get these models in the post with a magazine and you put a bit together. We do that in kind of group calls. And by the end of those, it's 7 weeks. By the end of the 7 weeks, you've got about 100 leads, 100 potential customers you can follow up with through the various different ways we repurpose one very specific piece of content. So it's called the 100 Leads in 6 Weeks program. I've put the links in the chats on YouTube and LinkedIn. I'll go to the other social channels and do it a little bit later. But we will literally help you do this. Will it will every lead that you get be a great customer and you make loads of money? No, let's be realistic. But the reason why the program's called 100 Leads in 6 weeks is because that's how many I worked out that if I had 100, I'd have a percentage of people who would be ready to buy kind of like now, a percentage of people who would be ready to buy in the future, and a percentage of people who randomly got in, and then a percentage of people I could nurture and maybe get some business in the further down the line. So that's the way I worked on it. If you have 100, you're going to get a few customers biting and converting fairly quickly. You're going to get some that's down the line, you know, next month or after summer and things like that. And then you're going to get some people that are the wrong people and some people who you have to nurture for a while. and then it picks up later. So that's why we do the 100 leads. So in that program, over 7 weeks, we literally help you do this, build it, get it running. So you're fully operational. Is okay, do they see the value of what you're trying to sell to them? That's the big thing in that program. That's the accelerator. But if you're interested in this, it's a 7 week, sorry, there's a prep week and then 6 interactive weeks. Prep week, August. So on the 18th of August, we kickstart this. And by the first week in September, your lead system, we call it the rapid lead system, is running. It's running. You don't need ads. You don't need cold sales pitches. You just need one masterpiece of content to distribute it, which I'll show you exactly how to do it. So look, if you're interested, the link's there. 100 cups of coffee. Yes, exactly. The leads, the link is there. If you've had value from this session, come over and follow me on LinkedIn, hit the bell on my profile. So when I share another post, you get to hear about it. And if you've got value from this, tell some other people. Really appreciate that if you tell some other people. And of course, I'd love to see you on the 100 Leads program on the 18th of August. But I hope you got value from this. I hope I've simplified it, demystified, myth busted, whatever we want to call it. Look, have a great summer. This is the second to last webinar before I go on holiday. I think I've got one more next week, and then I go away for 2 weeks. I'll still be posting because LinkedIn and posting on social media is very profitable when you have a system to make it work. So thank you all so much for joining me. Appreciate every one of you, liking, commenting, and all the stuff you do on my posts and showing up to these events. I really do appreciate you. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you next week.